So the other day, yesterday, Adam Schefter reported the projected number one overall pick, Fernando Mendoza, has informed the NFL that he is not planning to attend the NFL draft in Pittsburgh this month, per sources. Mendoza wants to share the draft experience with his family in Miami, which, again, the point of this is it's completely fine. I'm not saying don't enjoy this process with your family. It's probably one of the best days of his life. But I responded back, and again, I understand his mother's sick. I understand that she has MS and it's rough. But I tweeted it should be mandatory as the number one overall pick to be available for the NFL draft. I said for many reasons, but the trend of not showing up to the draft is awful. It has 34K views and it went absolutely like nuclear in the comments section. A bunch of people were coming at me and saying like, I don't know. Like I'm looking at the first few comments and they're so stupid. I'll assume you're the same guy that bitch if he were a flamboyant and flashy. Like it's just
that doesn't even make sense. Well, there's zero correlation.
There's zero exact. A lot of this was zero correlation. People getting pissed off. Somebody tweeted at me and said, "Well, he blocked me because I was going to respond back, but." He said mandatory like vaccines, like masks. And I'm like, yeah, exactly like that. Like
not related. Another one not related.
Ridiculous. A lot of stuff is not related. What I guess the essence of all of this is the NFL draft is such a spectacle. It's such a big deal. They put a bunch of time, effort, and energy into the presentation of it. The NFL does. And they host it in major cities. It's a massive event. And I personally feel like we have one quarterback in this class. I feel like it's the due diligence of the NFL. I think it's the due diligence of like Fernando Mendoza. Like one of the points I said, like I've said for many reasons, one of the many reasons, and people try to act like this isn't a big deal. When you become the face of a multi-billion-dollar corporation, like you have to do media. It's a part of it. You have to talk to the media. It might be stupid, but like that's a part of like this whole ecosystem. That's why he's able to make millions and millions of dollars every single season. That's why he's able to sign a 5-year contract. And you're becoming the face of a very big organization, one of 32 in America. So all of this comes with it. What do you think about like the essence of this take, I guess?
So I didn't realize that his mom had MS, and I think that is a reasonable excuse for staying home in this scenario. But then you pointed out that she was at the college football playoff games.
Again, because people are, what you're saying is going to get taken the wrong way, and people are going to, if this blows up, people get mad in the comments. I'm not saying that Fernando, my take of this isn't like the fact that Fernando Mendoza's mother is sick. This is like a message from that, like is across like the platform to all picks. Like if you are a bona fide, like he is a bona fide number one overall pick, betting favorite, the whole nine. Like if you're a bona fide top 10 pick, like I feel like you should probably be at the draft.
Yeah. I think that that's fair. I think that being in that position is an extreme honor, and having the ability to walk across that stage, shake the commissioner's hand, get your jersey, your number one jersey with your name on it, the whole 9 yards is really iconic. An honor. It iconic. Yeah. I think that it's totally reasonable if you're the NFL to want those players there that are going to be potentially the face of these franchises and maybe the face of the NFL in the future. So like, I think that that's totally reasonable. I think there's some exceptions, right? Like, but I'd have to go back and look through like some of the previous NFL drafts, but like there's been times where we didn't even know until the day of the draft that guys were going to be the number one overall pick. Like I'm pretty sure the Baker Mayfield number one overall pick was like a very well kept secret almost until like a day before the last day. And I'm pretty sure he was there anyways. But I think if
No, he
you're
wasn't.
within he wasn't. Okay.
No.
I don't know why he wasn't, but nevertheless, my point on this doesn't change. If you are within like the top 15 picks, I think that the top like 40 prospects per se should realistically have to be there. Um, I know that maybe there will be a guy here or there that um, gets picked in the first round or within the first 20, et cetera, that might not be within that first 30, 40 of the top prospects, and there's going to be exceptions, right? It's tough. You don't know everything that every team is picking, but I think it should be the responsibility of those players that are going to get paid a ton of money that could potentially be the future of these teams and of the NFL to be at an event like this. It's a once in a lifetime thing, and I understand that, like, you're gonna be with your family. These kids now, it's not even a thing of money as far as getting out to these events because all these kids that are going through college now are leaving whatever school with $3 million in the bank, so they can afford to get their family to the draft. And if not, the NFL should step in and figure out a way to handle that because it looks better for them too if these guys are showing up and are on stage and talking with the commissioner and getting their jersey and that's like the enjoyment too of if you're a fan there, you want to see the guy that your team is drafting walk up on stage, get
Bro,
his jersey, fire the crowd up. That's
think about it, it probably didn't work out the best, at least year one, but Matthew Golden in Green Bay last year.
was electric.
Well, it was an insane moment, like
Yeah,
literally an insane moment that was like huge. Like they took a first round wide receiver the first time in forever. He was at the draft. He walked out. The crowd was going fucking nuts. And it was like such a cool moment. And
yeah,
really, what it comes back to, and I feel like where the tweet got misconstrued a little bit, is like and you kind of said it, this is just as much on the NFL as it is the players as well. Like the NFL should be making every single accommodation
yeah,
to kind of lock in at least like the top like bona fide like 15 to 20 prospects like on the board. Like
yeah,
we need you guys here. It's better for all of us. The green room's going to be packed. Like that's going to make for a better TV product. And like I said, like it's a part of it. If you don't like it, like it is what like that you gotta if you when you are that successful, you do things that you don't want to do all the time.
yeah,
Like it's just it's a part of like the being in the NFL. I feel like that they need to make it more of a thing where listen, I get it. Getting to be at home with the family and everything like that is probably electric and awesome. I'm not saying that that's not a thing, but I also think that like being at the NFL draft as the first overall pick, especially like in
yeah,
the Fernando Mendoza situation, like there is not any shot that he's not number one overall. The
yeah,
NFL needs to pretty much be like, we need to, how can we make you here? What's
yeah,
a way that we can get you here?
yeah.
And actually take the initiative to do it. So that's kind of where the take completely comes from.
The fan piece of it too that I was talking about. So um Tyler and his dad and his brother are going to Pittsburgh for the draft, and his dad and brother are Raiders fans.
Yeah.
And I'm nearly positive that majority of the reason as to why they're going to Pittsburgh is because the Raiders have the number one pick and they want to be there while the Raiders take the potential future of their franchise. Like that's a very cool experience for a team and for a fan base that has been like deprived of a lot of like good moments sport like with their club the last however many years. Like that's a really big deal, and if I'm a fan and I go there and I'm a Raiders fan, I'm Mr. I'm excited, I'm fired up that hey, this could be the guy, like this could be the guy that turns this ship around for us, right? Like you even though it's a very short moment in the grand scheme of reality, like it's a couple minutes, they're on the clock. They take Fernando Mendoza, walks across the stage, grabs a jersey, says thank you, heads out. But like being able to see that is probably a once in a lifetime experience for the fan base too.
Yeah, there's also one other thing that I wanted to bring up too, because people will be like, "Oh, the fans don't matter." Well, the fans do matter. That's how all of this happens. That's how the bills get paid. That's how the players get paid. That's
Did
how
somebody
the
say
NFL
that?
gets thing. Everybody always says that. Like, who cares if the fans want to see? It's like, okay, well, like that's how this all works. Like, I'm not a fan of a team, like specifically, but like to not like grasp the idea that like this is how the ecosystem works, like you're an idiot. Same thing with the media. And the other thing, and you'll obviously know, there's two really well documented ones. Last year with the Shador Sanders, it was pretty much set in stone that Shador wasn't going to be a first overall pick by the time that, or first round pick by the time the draft got there. And I saw some people say like, well, Shador fell the whole way. It was like, well, Shador, it was pretty well documented by like anybody who had like a voice that like there was no shot he was going in the first round. And then the years prior to that, the Malik Willis situation where he was supposed to be a first round pick and he ended up falling. And then obviously the famous one was like the Will Levis situation where he was supposed to be a top 5 pick and he fell the whole way to the second round. So obviously things happen. Obviously, if you're on the edge or something like that and you don't want to be there, that's a personal choice. At the end of the day, I still think it's a personal choice. Like if
Yeah.
you think that you're going to get taken or not. But I'm saying like if you are like a bona fide top 10 prospect. Like there is, if you fall outside of the top 10, a team is going to be like salivating to pick you at 11 or 12. Like then you should probably, they need to figure out a way to get there because it's pretty much set in stone year after year after year who like the top 10 prospects are like in the class.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the NFL .com like prospect tracker, and uh I'm gonna read off like these first 10 guys. And I think these are pretty much guys that I would fully expect to be in Pittsburgh for this year's draft. So Arvell Reese, David Bailey, uh Mansour Delane, Jeremiah Love, Fernando Mendoza, Carnell Tate, Ruben Bain Jr., Francis Muagawa, Sony Styles, Caleb Downs, Makai Lemon, Kenyon Sadiq. Now, outside of that, there's guys that are within the top 20 that will be, these guys will all be first round picks, I believe, that are on this top, out on this top 20. Um, I can understand once you get out of the top 15, maybe you have a little bit more leeway with that. But I think that a good chunk of these guys should be there at the draft. I mean, what's the point of hosting realistically if guys are going to get to the point where they don't want to show up, which I don't think that'll ever happen. I think that majority of the time what we'll see is guys lean towards showing up to the draft and wanting to be there. But if we get to a point where majority of this is on Zoom, to be honest, this gets into my another point. I think the NFL draft should just be in person for 2 days. To be realistic with you, like day one and the first round, like first and second round, those should be the only two in person. Um, I don't really think that there's any reason for the back half of this to be in person, but that's
Well, people go, people, it's still a spectacle, like
I
in a
know,
way, I
I know.
guess. But,
My point,
but
my point, my point is like
the
every
first round should be the first round. Like it should be an
yeah,
absolute spectacle, like where like
yeah,
the stars are out.
yes. My point, circling back to my overall point, is like it can't get to a point on the timeline for the NFL draft where nobody is showing up and you're getting
Yeah.
like seven guys that show up in the first round and then everybody's in their house. Like there's got to be a 20 guys at least show up.
I know that like the Grammys is probably a bad example of this just because over the years it's kind of gotten to that point where like people just don't go and shit like that. But like the Oscars, for example. Like Sean Penn wasn't there this year, but I mean,
Yeah,
Sean Penn's a wild card. Like he's,
correct.
but like everybody else was there. Like
Yeah.
that's like an event that like if you're in the industry, like you don't miss.
Mhm.
And even if you're there to win and or lose, like you show up. Like there are people like I think of like we talked about Timothy Chalamet with when he lost in the Oscars, like best actor. He stood up, clapped, called it a day, and left. But like you have to show up to those events. That's a part of the job, just as
It's an
much as anything else.
Getting the invite is an honor in itself, that
Exactly.
they think that you are, um, significant enough that you should be at this event.
100%.
I
Let's just call it there. I mean, you hit it right. You literally hit it right on the fucking head because
Yeah,
you get they invite an X amount of people out. If you get that invite, you should be honored and take that just like any other big time event. And I get it. Like Fernando Mendoza's case, and if you were to look, if I guess where the back and forth comes in all of this, Fernando Mendoza, we invite him. Hey, I'm declining. My mom's real sick. Like, and as a commissioner, as whoever handles this, and be like, listen, we completely understand that. We will make like any accommodation that we could possibly make for your mother to make this happen. And if even if then if he's like, listen, I talked to my family, it's not going to work. We're going to have to be in person. She's real sick.
yeah,
Completely fine. But
yeah.
I'm just saying that like the NFL should like really, especially the bona fide number one odds on favorite. Like somebody tweeted at me and was like, "Is Ty Simpson going to be at the NFL draft?" I was like, Ty Ty Simpson's not the odds-on favorite to be the first overall pick. So like
No.
where is that? What correlation does that even have?
Also, like, it's not yeah, maybe you get, like, when they do it on Zoom, yeah, maybe you get, like, a little moment here or there where CD Lamb a couple years ago where he snatched that phone out of his girl's hand or something like that.
Yeah, that
Like,
was insane.
you'll get an occasional moment like that, but at the end of the day, I think it's still, much cooler and much more of a grand spectacle and an honor to be at this event and to walk across that stage and get your jersey, shake hands and call it a day. I mean, you go there, you're going there if you're one of these guys that we're talking about, you're there for Saturday and then you're gone. You could legitimately leave right after right after.
They leave legitimately right after the event to go to the team.
Yeah. So like I don't
You fly, you get a P like Fernando Mendoza is getting drafted and then taking a PJ to Vegas to
yeah.
be at the Vegas facility and do media and do all
Yeah.
it's just it's a part of all of it. Like
It's a responsibility, yeah.
it's one of those weekends that's like, yes, it's something that you've worked for your entire life, but it's also another day at the office.
Yeah, it's the first day at the office.
Some would say.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking through some of these. The issue with Twitter is you can't fit your entire thought into one tweet. So many people will just end up seeing that and then building their own story around why you said what you said, and majority of the time it ends up being incorrect.
Bro, somebody, as we're sitting here, somebody just responded to me and listen to this response. How do you do that? He may not be number one. They could trade out of drafting him at number one and draft him at 2 or 3. Weird things like that happen all the time. One, that has never happened. Ever. like,
It's literally
like it's
not
just
happening at all.
like the replies to the tweets aren't even like cohesive like arguments to like what I said. It's just like
You
random
You
points.
should respond back to that guy and be like, "Okay, if you're so sure about something like this happening, you should put $1 billion on it." Just like
I'm
make
gonna
fun of him.
I'm gonna say, when has that ever happened?
Yeah, I mean,
I just want to know. I really do. When has that ever happened? A
dude,
team who
this guy low key roasted you. He said, "Sure it is." Says somebody who's clueless in all caps.
That's
And
awesome.
you know that the guy that typed this out was just like some boomer on the other side of his phone,
Seething,
not even realizing that he's typing in all caps too.
seething. He's
Because
probably
he
pissed. He is
uh
pissed.
I just spit it. Good girl.